there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California, USA. You will know that Liza is not here, so immediately let's talk
about Liza.
About Liza and say, she's a bad egg because she's not. No, who we got in the studio? We're running the board and looking handsome as ever. Devilishly handsome, in fact. Did you give your beard a trim, darling?
Yes, I did. You know, I have a barber in the family now, so.
And you got a bit of cover on it. It's Johnny.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Johnny. And sitting to my left, it's Todd. Welcome back, Todd.
AKA.
Thank you so much for having me. I used to be a trapeze artist, but they let me go.
Yeah,
That's a long show.
Now, sitting next to his favorite open window. No, don't do that, Jim. Makes you look cheap, darling. Jim is definitely in my good books because he just gave me a bag of pork scratchings.
I know it's the good pork crackling. It's got some hair on it still.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the best thing.
Beast loving dirt bikes. That's what I got for you.
You better believe it.
Beast loving dirt bikes.
That is the key to a happy life. And coming to, well, this is quite luxurious accommodation. I'm guessing. Are you being licked by a dog right now, Bagel?
You got a dog now? Just snipped. Not me.
No, it was just sniffing. Well, it's just luxurious accommodations. It doesn't look like your garage in Velveeta. Where are you, darling?
No, I am in Manitou Springs with my friend Bud.
Good evening.
Manitou Springs, coming
Manitou Springs, Colorado.
Oh,
yes.
Colorado.
Yes, I should say. Yes, it is in Colorado.
We are quite literally at the foot of Pikes Peak.
I have been there. I have been to Pikes Peak. I got hailed on.
Yes, I got hailed on Pikes Peak yesterday.
Fantastic. And we are going to get to why you're there, what you've been doing, who your friend is, all of these good things shortly. But what I want to talk about now is, what did we do in the garage today? What did we do, Johnny?
Not a whole lot.
Well, no, that's not entirely true.
Todd did.
And I want a quick chat about what you're doing, Todd. I'm still monkeying around with my 850 and getting the bugs out of it, and it's getting there.
What bugs are you still doing?
It's just running stuff, you know. And as well,
When you say just running stuff, I'm always curious when you drill down, like, what does Emma have to struggle?
Well, the biggest problem when you're dealing with a bike that's basically 46 years old, the gasoline and the oil that bike was designed to run with isn't available anymore. So you have to compromise with what's available.
Someone mentioned the bike just in case.
Well, yes, this is my 1979 Suzuki GS 850.
It is a stunner.
It's pretty bike. And of course, a lot of things are for the better. I mean, oil is infinitely better now than it was back then. Well, slippier and, gives you better protection. But gasoline it's a challenge.
Especially in California.
Yeah, right. Modern California gas for carbureted bikes is always a challenge, but we're getting there. I'm really dialing it in. I've got it 99% there now.
Do you use like an additive or something?
No, I try and get them to run as good as I can on pump gas because once you go down the additive route, it's almost like, I've got high blood pressure, so I'm either going to take this medication
for life,
or I'm going to try and improve my life a bit. And so if I can get the bike running well just on pump gas, I'm kind of improving its life rather than just giving it a Band-Aid. But I can always resort to additive. But number one, additives are expensive. Number two, you've always got to get the ratio right. And number three, just because it's available now doesn't mean it's going to be available in 2 or 3 years' time. So
just ride it.
Yeah, basically, I'm riding it. And I've done like 1,000 miles since I built it. And every mile I'm doing on it, it's getting a little better.
So what are you working on now?
At the shop?
Yeah, no, on that bike.
With a few minor adjustments, it's done. Yeah, it's done. And then I've got to decide. I bought another bike.
Oh, what'd you buy?
No.
Well, I really took pity on the owner, actually, more than anything else. he arrived at the shop and he said, "Look, I've got this BMW K75 3-cylinder," and he said, "You know, I've got to get rid of it." And I'm like, "I haven't got room for a bike. I really haven't got room for a bike. I've got I don't want it." And he said, "Look, if I don't sell it to you now, my next stop is going to be A&S Metal Recycling."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "God dang, I can't do that to it." And it was, I mean, it's better than that. The bike is better than that.
I don't want to be a bad influence, but
Oh God, you
I
are.
see you eyeing.
You are a bad influence. No, I'm not eating sweet. No, I'm not eating sweet things or bread. And that coconut. You're a bad influence on me, Jim. So basically, I emptied my pockets and I gave what was in my wallet for, I don't even know what year it is, but it's titled a 3-cylinder BMW. I don't know what I'm going to do to it.
Metal and running?
No, hasn't run in a while. But
So is it challenged?
oh God, it's ugly as hell.
Well, they were ugly when they started.
But I mean, so was the 850. You know, the 850. It's rare that I've bought a bike as ugly as that 850 was.
Is there a market for the BMW?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a market for the GS 850 either.
There's no market for anything right now.
The metal of the GS is gorgeous. It really is pretty good.
Yeah, but there's no market for it because
it
it's
is
not a
definitely-
desirable bike. Yeah, it's a sentimental thing. So, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. So that's what I'm working on right now. Anyway, no, in keeping with what we were doing in the garage, I mean, the only person who really did some work today is Todd. So, why don't you let people know what you're working on, what specifically you did today? I'm hoping John is going to be smart enough to turn my microphone off because I'm planning on crunching on some pork scratchings.
We all appreciate the heads up.
Thank you.
I have a 1999 996 Ducati. It is really straight with a thrown rod. I brought in the lump with the thrown rod today and removed the heads. I have 3 heads, 2 blocks of one bike. And I've been told it will all stick together quite well.
Now, are you a Ducati person?
I don't know if I got myself a Ducati. This is my 3rd Ducati, but they were all in really good order when I got the one before. I got this one for the right price. I will not tell what the price was, but it came with just gobs of good. I mean, stuff from Bologna, the original
Plastic?
Original plastic. Got stuff marked from whatever. It came with Olin suspension bits.
And the 996 is a fully faired one?
Fully fair.
Yeah.
It's a super bike. I'm thinking about cloning it to a 916. I'd like to have some opinions on that. It looks like it's a 996, but I think I'd like to clone it to look like a 916. It's got the 3-spoke Brembo wheels. It really does look the business when it's, like that. So,
I came by earlier and I think you had the engine out on the lift. Just
when the engine out was unbelievable.
You're into this.
Yeah, I've got the frame down, bare. It's beautiful. Once I cleaned it up, it had 20 years of gunk on it. But the bolt that keeps the swing arm and the engine in there was an act of God to get out. The Mr. Australian man, whoever sent me that link on how to get that thing out, I owe you a cold beer. It was a nightmare. And the bike came apart in minutes after I got that out, but it took me months to get the one swing arm engine bolt out. And somebody said to put it on their side and keep hammering. I didn't have any luck with that. Again, somebody kind of told me how to build a bit of a come along, and I did the come along. Yeah,
Like a puller or a come along?
yeah, like a little
Like a puller, yeah.
a little puller. Oh, I got you. But I didn't do no straps involved, and it came out pretty easily after that. But it really was a nightmare. But once that one bolt was out, the bike came apart in minutes. I could see how, as a race bike, it can come apart in minutes and go back together in minutes. But I have a rebuilt 996 second motor. Just taking the bits off the original motor.
Did you rebuild it or eBay or what?
When it came from my friend.
Oh, okay.
HRS Scooters, best Vespa shop in Fresno. Shout out to Mr. Al. And he had it in his myriad of bikes, and he sold it to me for the right price. And I've been hoping to put it together from the book. But he had it for so long. I never wanted to just never had the funds to do it. And hoping to do it right.
And your goal is to flip it or ride it?
Oh, I want to ride it. I want to pose on it. I want to get a Ducati cape and out of coffee shops and pretend I'm Batman.
And what are your other rides?
I have a Thruxton,
Right.
07 Thruxton, beautiful bike. That bike. Those are the only two I have right now. I'm hoping to add a Lambretta at some point, a Vespa at some point. But those are the only two. And I have a girl going to college, so I got a feeling it will be scooters for.
You got 4 years to wait now.
Yeah, foreseeable future, unless a 3-cylinder BMW just rolls into my garage. But other than that, the Ducati and the Triumph should be enough.
It should be, but it's not.
The Triumph is my alter ego. I call her the Black Saint. Don't do that part. Did have some else. We had a young lady come into the CT90 helmet with.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're not done with your duck yet
Okay.
because, oh, thank you. I'd have called scratching.
Your eye watering. Pour some down nose pork crack.
Yeah.
God, that sounds like
Salt hurt herself.
So, no, so we had the cylinder heads apart. And a lot of people are intimidated
I would.
by Ducati cylinder heads because, of course, you've got openers and closers. But actually, it's a very, very simple system once you understand how it works. And so basically, you've got this cylinder head, and we had to cut in a valve. Out of 2 cylinder heads, 7 valves, fantastic, 1 valve bit leaky deaky.
How'd you identify that?
So my method, which is the very old school method, you turn the cylinder head upside down and you fill the combustion chamber with brake fluid, acetone works, something very, very thin, and just leave it. Go and have a cup of tea or something, yell
and try to save the one valve.
yell at the cat, whatever you got to do for 5 minutes, and then you come back and shine a flashlight in the ports. And if they're wet, it's leaking. And this thing was pouring out. So it was just 1 valve out of the 8.
The spare engine came to 2 extra barrels, so I've got an extra set of
Right.
valves blow out or something.
To do this,
Well,
You got to reseat them. Yeah.
we pulled the valve out, and it's too far gone. The actual seating face on the valve is so far gone. It's going to be a new valve.
Yep.
And of course, Ducati probably aren't interested in.
So that's a machine shop thing, or you can seat it yourself.
I have spare. So
it's a valve seat, right?
Yeah.
yes.
No, it's the valve
itself.
No.
Okay.
But it would not the valve itself.
But the seat is okay.
Oh, the seat's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to.
So the valve itself's simple.
Yeah, exactly. I guarantee, put a new valve in there, lap it in, it's going to be like absolutely fantastic.
But to get back to what you said, I was very intimidated about pulling these heads apart. I've got a whole another set of barrels and valves, and I didn't want to move them because I was afraid something would get out of nick. But again, to watch somebody do it that knows what they're doing made it look very straightforward.
And we just pulled one rocker shaft out, and then the whole camshaft came out. And then you
put it all back in this mark and then go back together pretty.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was not overwhelmed with what it looked like. I call myself a noob.
Was that one of those things you just have to take the bull by the horns?
Right.
Yeah, I would say that.
But the top tip, if you're working on a Ducati, you need to be very methodical. You need to draw a little chart, and you need to have all your sandwich bags ready.
What was going on with that 14 millimeter didn't fit?
Oh, we made.
We made so
it's like some Italian special measurement.
Yeah.
Expensive, but
no, we made it.
yeah, the magician over here.
So it's like Whitworth Italian equipment.
No, it's 15, but it's kind of
we tried.
it's cut at an angle,
Okay.
so you just got to make it.
Yeah, it just had to be ground up enough to get in there. But we tried 4 or 5, it didn't work. Someone got in on a grinder, took enough off it so it fit in there.
Oh, there you go.
Ta-da!
You got on a socket?
No, it's too tight. They have the head, then you've got the bolt in between where the barrel and the head goes, so you have to over there.
Now, funnily enough, BMW, Ducati are not the worst when it comes to special tools to strip engine to there. And I let the cat out of the bag. It's BMW. If you wanna get down and dirty with a BMW engine, or especially the transmission, you need so many special tools, which is why very few bike shops actually get involved in them, just because of the need for special tools.
I lost that bet. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. So anyway, so you were the busy beaver today. Jim, have you been any on decent rides lately?
What did I do?
I know you've been
Aside-
boiling yourself in your new hot tub.
Aside from commuting, the daily commute and boiling myself in the hot tub like a shrimp. I did take a lovely ride up in the Redwoods yesterday. We went to see some friends up way up in Bonnie, somewhere there, and past fire station. And yeah, so instead of riding in the car with everybody else, I hopped on the Tenere. And I like the Tenere because you can do like 45, 50 miles an hour through some nice windy roads, and it's a perfect speed, perfect experience. Taking the Redwoods, all that kind of stuff. But no, other than that, today was a chain maintenance day, so I did some chain maintenance on the Tenere, on the 450. Yeah, and then went back in the hot tub. Had an espresso. Ooh.
Oh, that sounds like a large afternoon to me.
Yeah, and then I get to come here. It's great.
So, we
Do you want to talk about the gal brought in?
well, we'll talk. I think we're going to feel a little more, but the young lady who came in, I believe she's a student at UCSC. She has a non-running CT90, and at this stage, I think the reason I'm a little reticent is we haven't seen the bike yet. So we'll do a full report when she comes in.
Again.
But the mantra is you push it in, you're going to ride it home.
Mm-hmm. I think she'll be jealous. She'll be surprised.
Right.
She didn't seem like she cared about getting her hands dirty because she said she already pulled the carb and cleaned it and everything.
Right, exactly. And I told her that.
Cool.
I said, look, you're going to be working on the bike. I'll supervise, but you're going to be working on the bike. But that's kind of what we do.
She'll wear a really nice jacket too.
Yeah.
Where'd it come from? Did she find it?
She bought it. She rode it for a couple of 3 days. She said it was dying in second and third gear.
Oh, the runs.
So well, she put a new battery, but again, it randomly started dying while running. She put a new battery in it. Wouldn't do it. She said we'll go into it when she brings it on in. But I think we got a fresh fish. We're gonna reel her in and turn her into one of us.
One of us?
Yes.
I really like seeing people turn into one of us.
But let's get to the main attraction. So, Bagel, you let me know quite a few weeks ago that you had a very interesting gentleman you wanted to have on the show.
Yes.
And you appear to have him sitting next to you right now.
Yes,
and
my friend.
So, what I want is you've been quite busy this weekend yourself.
Yes. And actually, let me start by saying what I've been up to.
Well, start at the beginning, darling, because you've got the floor.
Okay, so I've come out here to Colorado this week for Heinkel Fest, which is a North American scooter rally for Heinkel motor scooters.
Did you bring your HE 111?
I brought my HE 103A2 Schwinger.
Yes.
That is the
Schwinger.
The proper designation of the model. It's one of the last Heinkels ever made in 1965. And we had a pretty good turnout this year. I think we had maybe 20 people or so, and I think we had at least like a dozen bikes, if not close to 15. And
and were any of the scooters support scooters for the other ones?
Not really. I mean, we did have a truck or two, along the way for the longer rides.
Yes.
But yeah,
speak. I understand.
Yes, that was the kind of the highlight of the weekend was the ride to Pikes Peak yesterday. But we started actually on Wednesday, where everyone started arriving on Wednesday, and we had tech sessions that day for working on things on your bike if you need help with certain stuff, or if there were parts that you needed and other people had, you could wrench on things, and it was really valuable to have that because these bikes are so obscure and that's hard to find good experience about how to work on them. So bringing people together in the same spot to be able to share knowledge and ideas is a huge thing to have among Heinkel owners. So there was a lot of wrenching
These are darling scooters for people who've never seen them.
Yeah.
They were made 1950s.
Started about 1953, I think, until 1965.
Okay,
And
it's a 250cc.
oh no, this is 175 or
Okay,
174 specifically to
okay.
be precise.
Electric start,
Yes, electric start,
manual transmission,
yes, 4-speed manual and 4-stroke.
and
Oh,
a
wow.
4-stroke. Not a powerhouse. How many horsepower are we dealing with?
I think it has about 9 horsepower or so.
Okay.
No clutch.
But
Oh, no, it's got a clutch.
it's
Got a clutch.
it's manual with a clutch. Yep, and it has a typical motorcycle transmission with the oil clutch and a direct drive to the rear, or I'm sorry, chain drive to the rear wheel in an enclosed swing arm. It's a vertical single cylinder with carburetor on the right, exhaust on the left, and it's all enclosed in a big aluminum housing that looks like an old refrigerator. And it has a big bulbous nose on front with a sort of a big coffee can headlight that almost looks like an old locomotive.
Now, am I right in assuming that they come in 2 flavors, don't they? They come in the Mark 1 and 2, and the front is unchanged on both of them.
Well, not quite. There are actually quite a few models that they had over the years, but there are 2 main styles. There was the early style, which had a rounded rear, and there were about 5 different models that had that same basic shape with different engine and wheels and things like that. But then in 1961, they had a fairly significant redesign, and they changed the rear to have this big tail fin with a giant taillight that went all the way across the back of the bike. And they added this big aluminum front bumper in the front and changed the headlight a little bit. So and they added these big sort of jet set sort of aluminum trim on the sides of the panels. So it was
like a Cadillac.
It really is like a
it was really
Cadillac.
It was really trying to be the Cadillac of scooters because it was big, it was long, it was cushy, it was not particularly fast, but it was comfortable. And that was the market they were going after, is the people who wanted to ride a scooter very, very comfortably and slowly along your country roads and take a nice little cruise.
Something of a distance. Now, this period when these were being made is a very, very interesting period of German history.
Yes.
And it's called the Economic Miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a period of prosperity for Germany because of course after the 50s. No, it really started almost immediately after the Second World War when they dropped the Reichsmark and they embraced the Deutschmark. And there were some enormously clever economic decisions made, and it really turned Germany into the powerhouse it is now.
The Marshall Plan helped that too, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We want to really, so we've talked a little bit about Heinkels and what they are and what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, go on, carry on.
Yeah. So anyway, these scooters, were fairly popular in Germany. They were one of the smaller brands that were out there, but among the smaller brands, they were sort of the biggest, behind Lambretta and Vespa. But they eventually, succumbed to the economic changes in the 60s. People wanted cars instead of scooters, and being sort of the luxury scooter, the market for Heinkel kind of died out earlier than Lambretta and Vespa, who had to adjust and shift later. Lambretta didn't make it, Vespa did. So, but anyway, the Heinkels, a few of them did make their ways to North America, including mine, which was an original U.S. import. But a lot of them have been imported after, in years after, from Germany and other places in Europe. So the bikes that were there this weekend were a mix of both, and we had a range of.
Can I kind of focus in on that? So they were officially imported into America via a dealer network.
A very small one, about 350 of them.
300 of them.
Yeah.
So just 300 as part of the dealer network, but of course, I'm sure GI's brought them back because there was quite a significant presence of US forces in Germany. A lot of people simply, this is a cool-looking scooter, and brought them in. Take a stab, because you're both clearly very knowledgeable at it. I mean, what do you feel was the maximum number of Heinkels that came to America? We're dealing with probably quite a small number overall, aren't we?
I would say it's probably in the hundreds. There probably have never been more than 1,000 Heinkels here in the United States. But it's hard to say. I'm just guessing. Today, of the ones that are known, is probably a little over 100. And they're probably
we are talking very, very small.
If I may interject.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Mike, hi. So our here in Colorado Springs, we have an individual. His name is Mike McWilliams,
Yes.
and he is the principal sponsor of Heinkel Fest. He is our local Heinkel guru. He's the everything. He's personally, I believe his numbers, he said he's tracked down like 150 of the 300.
Wow.
And
Cool.
Mike has Mike would be a great person to basically have and do this whole thing with, because he has all of that really heavy, like, detective work stuff that he's done over the years.
Oh yeah.
And made it a real hobby to kind of try to sleuth these things out.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm lucky enough that I've ridden Bagel's scooter, and it's really quite charming, and I would love to do a deep dive on them and perhaps get this gentleman on the show.
Oh yeah. I'd love to do that with Mike someday. Sure.
But what we could do right now is we can segue in to our guest for tonight, because you...
Well, let me wrap up with the Heinkel Fest.
Well, don't take your time, because I want the main attraction on.
Yeah. Oh yes, I don't want to hold up, but let me just finish up. So we, after we did our tech sessions on Wednesday and into Thursday morning, we did a ride through the mountains around Manitou and Colorado Springs, which I think was called the Gold Camp ride, and it included some off-road sections too, which was quite thrilling on the Heinkels. And then we had let me pull up the schedule here to refresh my memories. So and then on Friday was the Pikes Peak Challenge. We rode as well as many of the Heinkels as we could up to the top, which ended up being 8 bikes. We started with
about this. Like,
we started with
you started what, 8,000 feet? What is the base?
So we actually, Manitou Springs here is at 6,412. Now, the thing you have to understand about the peak, there's a couple of things. The section that we would call for the Pikes Peak hill climb is a little over 12 point something miles, just under 13 miles. But there is a 6,000 foot elevation change in those 12 miles. So you are just hill climbing the entire way. The other thing you have to remember is when you get to the top of Pikes Peak, there is 40% less oxygen than there is down here. So any bike, unless you've got something fuel injected and mapped and can, handle at consistent altitude change, you're setting it and hoping for the best and just, running it.
Yeah.
And you got to watch out for marmots. I saw one almost take out Liza.
This is true. We only saw chipmunks this time, and some deer, I think. But
okay.
But
So how did they do heading up that?
They did pretty well, as can be expected. We did rejet to smaller jets before we went up. Heinkels normally take an 85 size jet. We dropped it down to an 80, and a lot of the way it was second gear up towards the top. We were down to first gear, but they chugged all the way up and made it to the top.
How many vehicles were behind you at any given point?
Surprisingly not that many, because most cars were just kind of going pretty slow just because of the views, and people just don't want to go too fast on those roads. Yeah, there's some pretty steep cliffs right off the side.
So is there any air filtration on these scooters? I mean, can you get 3/4 of the way up and sort of chuck away the air filter to get you up over the top to kind of lean it out even more?
You could if you wanted to, but they did fine enough even with the air filters. Yep. We do open up the door by the air filter just to help get a little bit cooler air in, or at least cooler air anyway, because Heinkels do tend to run hot. So, but it was pretty cool up there that day. We actually got sleet as we were getting ready to leave, and it was starting to pile up on the bike, so we got out there just in time.
Oh,
that happens. Same thing happened to Liza and I. We came down in hail.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Colorado's no joke. The weather's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes.
Yeah, get hit by lightning.
That is, and just to mention it, if you're not familiar with Nikola Tesla, Mr. Tesla actually did a lot of his inventing and experimenting in Colorado Springs. He had a large workshop here, but he also had an alternate laboratory that was up on the top of Pikes Peak.
Oh, wow.
The reason that laboratory was there was because of the unusually high occurrence of electrical activity.
In case the monster escaped.
Oh God, that's why I'm saying it's the monster. Yeah. So anyway,
I
carrying
didn't know
on,
that.
Bagel.
That's wild. So so that was so Pikes Peak was sort of the big highlight of the
Yes.
weekend, and Saturday we had a nice ride out to brunch at Mike's house, and then came back and just kind of took it easy for the afternoon. Had a lovely dinner at a German restaurant, and
did you have schnitzel?
I did not have schnitzel. It's not doesn't fit into my diet, but there was schnitzel available. So
Well, it bloody better be.
oh yes, there was schnitzel
Actually,
and sauerbraten.
you could probably eat Zigeuner Schnitzel, the Hunter Schnitzel, because there's no breading on it.
If there's no breading, I probably could.
Just rabbit?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's pork, darling.
Oh.
Pork. But yeah, Zigeuner
Good.
Schnitzel. It's got the peppers on it and a nice saucy sauce, and it's very good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, we had a wonderful time out here, and it's a rally that happens only every 2 years.
Yes.
At most frequently. So it's a real pleasure to be able to get together with other Heinkel owners and share stories.
And he's sitting next to one now. Look, I can see him. He's real and everything.
Well,
And
Well,
we've heard him.
I'm not the Heinkel owner.
yeah, but it's not a Heinkel owner.
No, we've got another whole little bit to talk about here, and that's
Yeah,
a whole
Well, and I'm hoping we're going to get to that.
Yes. So that wraps up Heinkel Fest, and when we put a big thanks out to Mike McWilliams and his wife Gretchen for putting on a fantastic time for everybody here, and thanks to everyone who came out. It was wonderful hanging out with you all, and I'm looking forward to the next one already.
Well, and we'll get Mike on the show.
Yes,
I really
I did
want to
want
do a deep dive
Oh.
about these scooters because
Yeah,
they
I
really are quite something.
Yeah.
He is an absolute he's a real knowledge base. He's one of these people.
Airplanes?
We have
Oh, yeah.
a few. So if you are any of you California people, I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Dean Soon. His business is Dean Speed. He does Lambretta Performance. So Dean and Mike McWilliams, we have a guy named John Croge with Lambrettas, another guy named Jared Stulzotz who does Lambrettas investments with Spot On. These are the guys who are your gurus who they've had their hands in these machines for decades. They know all of the little intricacies. They know the good, the bad, okay, well, you're doing this, but we need to get this part to make it right. That kind of a thing.
I'm going to be frank with you, darling. We're really the motorbike people. The only person who's sort of crushingly into scooters is sitting right next to you now.
Yep, that's
You know, and we tolerate him because he's so handsome and he's got a fine beard. But generally, we are the motorbike people.
yes.
It's part of our
Well,
equity, access, and inclusion.
And there's lots of love. No, there's lots of love that you can have between all of it. I've been personally, I've ridden Vespas and Lambrettas now for about 33 years. The last couple of years, just because of life and some other changes, I kind of segued a bit out of the scooter thing and kind of gotten into more of a motorcycle thing, which is this a good segue to get into that?
Let's go right into
Oh,
it.
no,
so-
yeah. And I mean, I think that's fantastic.
Oh, before we do it, let's welcome the lovely Scottie.
Yeah, Scottie just walked in. Yeah.
I
Hi, Scottie.
Well, no, and thank you for being quiet, Scottie, because I mean, I must admit, a lot of people coming in, it's like a bull in a china shop. And you were very stealthy. So thank you.
I'm a bull in a pillow shop.
There we go. Yeah.
So yeah, people probably didn't even realize you'd snuck in, but there you are. You'd snuck away.
All right. So,
Would
Bud,
you like a
tell
pork scratching? John will turn off your microphone if you crunch, though.
Oh, I will.
So, yeah.
Well,
Cool.
no, thank you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
These are the good ones. There's hairy ones in here.
I'm in the middle of a podcast. I can't be eating.
I can.
All right. So anyway, this is my friend Bud Ford,
Hi, I'm Bud Ford.
Hi, bud.
and he is
Nice to meet y'all.
yes. So, Bud, you were telling us about your journey.
I will tell them all exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah.
So, over various years, now, admittedly, you all need to know something. I'm 5'2". I have stumpy legs. I understand there's a stumpy other person here.
I resemble that remark.
So I love all of that. The thing is, I've had I've owned various scooters, but I've also had Yamaha RDs. I've had a Yamaha Virago. I've had all kinds of varying bikes over the years. Things kind of come and go. But what was very interesting was it was about 2.5, 3 years ago. I was surfing the web and I came across a video of this new American upstart company called Ryvid, RYVID. And I saw their product and I was like, okay, this is, it's intriguing. I really like what their concept is on this, because it's an electric motorcycle. And it was like, okay, this is completely out of my wheelhouse, but something very interesting. Well, long story short, we had a musical instrument business here in Manitou Springs that eventually crashed and burned. And because of being in the FEMA floodplain, I had to get rid of the building. And that left me with a tiny little bit of extra dosh where my realtor said, why don't you go out and do something fun? So I came home and I'd been looking at the Ryvids and I was like, okay, they're kind of cool. They had some price fluctuation stuff where they were originally $7,800 and then they brought them down to $6,500 and then they brought them back up. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. But just for giggles, I went onto Facebook Marketplace and I typed Ryvid Anthem into Marketplace and there was one for sale in Denver. And it was a good price and very nice people. So talked to the individual who had it, and it turned out he had bought it for his wife, but it was a little too tall for her. So I ended up biting the bullet and I bought the bike. So the bike that we're going to discuss in this is a 2023 Ryvid RYVID Anthem. And it's a very... It's its own monster. We went ahead today. I put Bagel out and I said, go for it. Just hit it. Go put this thing through its paces, and he'll have his own review on that. The only thing that I don't want to get too heavily into this.
Motorcycle?
Well, I don't want to get too heavily into this, but I do have to say it. So the bike it's just a little too tall for me. Like, I can single leg it and we're fine. But the other day I was coming home and I had a little bad section of curb, my visual acuity went and I actually dropped the bike. So and legitimately I had Bagel sized legs, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because he's got the legs. But to talk about what this thing actually is, okay. The Ryvid is, who here has seen Tron? Okay, so when I was like 9 years old, the light cycle scene in Tron, and I was doing a lot of thinking about this over the last few days. The light cycle scene in Tron was what drew me into bikes.
Oh yeah,
just straight up. It was absolutely.
I was
wild.
all about that too at that age.
And the Ryvid in its own way is kind of like its own little light cycle. It really is. It's. If you were going to have something that was close to a Tron bike, it really fits the mark. But here's where this is an interesting bike. It is a commuter motorcycle. It is not designed for long distance. You can't get the kind of range. If I believe that mileage wise, if you are doing 55 miles an hour, you're going to get about 30 miles out of it total on a charge, versus if you are running it, 30, 40 miles an hour and not trying to bang on it, I believe that your numbers are going to get closer to about 55, 65 miles to a charge. But where this gets into
commuting within a city.
Yeah.
Yes, they're absolutely
city. It might.
No, that it is not a bike for intercity travel. That's just not how it's set up. But like, as an example, I live about 6 miles from downtown Colorado Springs, and I do most of my riding over here on the west side. So for me, if I go out and do 20 miles around here, I've actually covered some ground around here. So that's where that all ended up kind of going. But I went ahead and purchased the bike, got it. It's I wouldn't say it had much of a learning curve, but it definitely has some unique things to it that should be mentioned. And I guess if we're going to start talking about any of those, the first is it has regenerative braking, just like a Tesla. But where this gets interesting is there are two modes. There's an economy mode and there's a sport mode. On the economy mode, if you let all the way off of your throttle, it automatically engages the regen. Mm-hmm. So you've got kind of a
and it's a pretty aggressive regen. I would say it's even stronger than your normal engine braking would be.
Yeah, you can really feel how that goes. But that's in the economy mode, and it's The economy mode is basically, it feels like you've got a governor on the bike. It's kind of like, okay, you're not really ready for the sport mode. Now, the sport mode is, it's torquey AF. Like, it's so torquey that when I bought the bike, Ryvid sells an uprated performance controller called the ASI controller, and I got one of these that came with the bike. I haven't even considered putting it on the bike because the bike's got plenty of power. But with the ASI, the numbers are supposed to be 0 to 30 in 1.1 seconds. So you're talking some really just like if you wanted an in-city traffic ripper that's just going to scream through lots of stuff and really hit it in ways that gas bikes can't hit it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. But anyway, to get back into the things that make this bike very interesting, one of the big things is its battery. So the battery is a front-mounted battery that is a modular unit. It is designed to be able to be just unhooked from the bike. You pull a lever and it drops. The actual battery has wheels, so you can wheel it around. But what this enables you to do is, let's say that you couldn't get to a charger, or you had to park your bike in a strange place. You can take the battery with you and charge it wherever you need to go on that end. And or as battery technology improves, as we get into solid state and a few things that are going to work better, as the new batteries come out, you'll be able to just swap them right out. Now, is this a cheap swap? No. The batteries are like $4,000 on the current ones. But it's interesting in that it is a modular system. The battery actually does have a built-in charger for the removable battery. So you don't have to worry about carrying a big charger. The only thing you have to carry is a power cord around. And, as long as you've got access to decent power, and or a Bagel saw it earlier today. I guess it's J11,
J1772.
Yeah, J1772 adapter.
Yeah.
I have that for the bike, and you can actually go and plug it into a level 2 charging station, and it will do the fast charging and whatnot. But one of the other fascinating things about this as a vehicle, how many of you have ever had a motorcycle whose seat will raise and lower on its own?
So this is technology that's actually coming in quite a lot on adventure bikes now.
Yes.
So most of the
Harleys and BMW.
Harleys, the Pan America has it, the BMW GS has it, because these are especially tall bikes. And of course, it makes life a lot easier. I mean, the cutoff on these bikes is a lot higher in terms of speed. But the bikes basically squat when you're doing below 50 kilometers an hour. And as soon as you get up to speed, then up they go. And it's just done automatically. They're quite, I'm not saying unnerving to ride, but of course, if you experiment, I rode a squatting BMW in Germany last year. And of course, you put your feet down and the ground's right there. And it's, this is very nice. And then you start going and you don't feel the bike change. But then you go to put your feet down just to test the road. I often put my feet down just to see what the road is. It feels like the bloody ground's not there. It's like, bloody hell, So it's quite unnerving.
It strikes me as like an electric Grom.
Actually,
one thing
so let's
my attention is it's not a cheap bike.
No,
it looks cool for around town, but compared to like a Zero FX or something like that.
The thing you have to, and this is where I really went down the rabbit hole on this, the build quality on this thing is absolutely top notch. It is not, there's nothing economy about this. Even when you look at it, when you get near it, when you're riding it, it feels like an absolute premium machine. And when you start looking at like the Harley Live Wires and a few of these other things, when you're looking pound for pound, dollar for dollar, I'm pretty sure that they have what I would attribute as one of the best values that's going on as far as buying an electric bike. But Ryvid is also a fascinating company because if any of you happen to be able to Google the term silent soldier mobility, go ahead and do that. And what you're going to see is Ryvid evidently has a government contract with the U.S. government, and they are producing like Ranger editions of these things, and they're wild when you see them. There's gun mounts on the front, like all kinds of nutty stuff. But the idea on them is they are having the modular batteries, having the adjustable seat height, they put out a very, very low to non-sensible thermal signature, and they're dead silent. So the idea is if you had to parachute one of these things in and guys had to get through and do something really stealth, it's a little disconcerting when you're riding this bike because there's no noise. Like you really, you can
That
get
is unusual even for an electric bike. I mean,
but you can get there's a tiny bit of motor that you might hear when you're starting it off, but like when you really are going,
Right.
and actually this is another part of it that you need to know. So in the sport mode does not automatically engage the regeneration, and it actually will let you coast. So in sport mode, you can actually give it a good blip and let off the throttle, and it's just coasting. There's nothing else going on there. So it is, as we have a park around here called Garden of the Gods, and it is so. This is actually one of the reasons that I got the bike, because my other shit's loud. It's all my. I'm into loud
The
bikes.
hooligan bike.
Yes, we're going to talk, and we'll talk about that here in a sec. But the Ryvid is so silent that I was like, this is a garden runner that we can take this thing around, and it's not gonna set any of the wildlife off, any of the other kind of stuff. But now on the flip side of that, I've had about 3 times where I've nearly gotten clipped because it is that silent. I'm actually contemplating putting a Bluetooth speaker on it, maybe like rolling Ride of the Valkyries. I also thought about just doing my own little putt thing. But I would say that it's really cool because it's quiet, and it's also a little disconcerting because it is absolutely so quiet. It is literally just as stealthy of a vehicle as you are going to get. But I want to segue in really quickly because I'm the owner guy, and I've had it for about a year. Dealing admittedly with single legging it, and it's one thing that's really nice. The battery is centrally mounted. It has a true 50-50 weight distribution. So it's an easy bike to move around. Oh, and then this actually needs to be mentioned because I'm small. And for anybody else who might not be as large, or just the bike has reverse. So if you are conscious of throttle control, you can literally use the throttle to kind of walk it forward if you need to hit the reverse, and you can basically, the bike will move itself if you know how to maneuver it correctly. Now, I have had one moment where I had a odd throttle icon that I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I did hit it, and it did take off, and I did manage to run it into a wall once.
Oh.
So that's just being honest and direct. But Bagel, what were your impressions today getting out on it?
Well, I thought it was a fun bike. It has, especially in sport mode, I definitely was a bigger fan of sport mode than the economy mode. I did start it out on economy, and it was fine on that. It took off well enough. It had adequate power in economy mode. The thing I didn't like about the economy mode was how aggressive the regen is, because it was difficult. It was almost like I had to do was it the one pedal driving, but with the motorcycle throttle. So I was just modulating the throttle to between slowing down and speeding up, and not even hitting the brakes at all on the.
Oh no, you can ride it. You can ride it like that if you're not into some kind of really crazy like traffic thing coming at you. Mm-hmm. I've had lots of times where I've been riding it and I don't even hit the front brake or the rear brake. I just the regen will just slow it down.
Now, the one thing I do wish that and this is probably something that and it may be something that they've even been looking at, is that regen comes on very it's almost kind of like an on-off switch. Like it doesn't have a lot of progressive. What's that?
Like it comes on violently.
Yeah, it comes on a very, very suddenly, and I would like it to have a little bit more gradual of an introduction to it, just so that it doesn't kind of like jerk you forward when you let off from the throttle.
To give Ryvid credit, they have discussed in this last year the idea that there's supposed to be an app that's coming out.
Oh, okay.
Now, one thing that's been very interesting about dealing with Ryvid is So I have the CEO, Dong Tran, who is been a very nice guy to deal with. I actually have him on my Facebook Messenger. Like I could like literally just send a message out, and usually takes about 5 minutes, but it's literally the CEO of this company like getting back with you. So one thing that I really do appreciate about them as a company is that they've got very, very good customer relation, very good support on that kind of a thing. Because I bought my bike used, I think I may have gotten a little lost in the system because it's, as far as me, I tried to do like an order for handlebars and some things got a little goofy, but we're going to go ahead and talk to them this week because unfortunately, I cannot publicize the pictures, but I was sent pictures. The new versions that they are putting out, they have an option to put a 15-inch wheel instead of an 18-inch wheel.
Oh, wow.
And this is where you're talking a lot more in the terms of Grom-ish territory. The only thing, according to Ryvid, is that your top speed is going to go down significantly because it is a smaller wheel. However, he said top speed goes down, but your acceleration is going to go up. Which I can't even imagine on with where the sport mode is on this thing is on the 18 inchers. It's like on a Vespa. It's like if you put P125 gears into a P200,
Sure,
and you try to accelerate, the first thing that's going to happen is the front wheel is just going to come off the ground.
right. But
I'm kind of heading towards where this kind of fits in comparison to an internal combustion vehicle. I'm trying to figure out what to compare it to.
So it's not, you can't really this is
well, no, hang on, wait, well, hear me out.
Find a way.
What's the top speed of it?
I've had it up to 80.
So it's a little more than Grom. You know, I'm kind of thinking it's almost like DRZ territory. It's like DRZ with half the fuel capacity.
It's not dirt.
Yeah, but
no, DRZ SM.
Okay.
Well, a stock Grom is not going to go over 54 miles an hour.
Yeah. So
and I know this,
or like a bigger Sauron.
I'm kind of thinking it's like a DRZ 400 SM with half the fuel capacity, with like a gallon tank. That's its kind of
but it's not as tall. It doesn't have the same type of suspension though.
It is its own animal.
Yeah,
I mean, I've ridden motorcycles for many, many years. This thing is its own beast.
Yeah,
and admittedly, one of the reasons that I bought it was because I've done combustion bikes for years, and I thought it would be really fun to say, okay, this is the future. Let's experience this other side of this whole coin to be able to do it. And admittedly, it's been a ton of fun this last year. Getting in and doing that, but it really ultimately so this last year, besides the Ryvid, I also have a Honda Grom and I have a Honda Monkey, and we'll come to those in a second. And so I can tell you we've done a lot of direct correlating. Bagel this afternoon went out on the Ryvid and then came back, and then he went out on the Grom.
Yep.
So we were doing some comparative stuff on that, and it is a little funny because where my Ryvid is dead silent, my Grom has a Yoshi on it. And they are very opposite ends of the spectrum as far as the noise happens to be concerned. But really, so where the Ryvid kind of really shines, if you look at the idea of a kilowatt energy output of a gallon of gasoline versus kilowatts that you're taking off of the grid, it's like so much high. It's like, I believe that their figures are, it'll cost you $160 to go 6,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other thing about this, it has an internal Gates belt drive system. There's no fluids to change aside from the brakes. So there's really no maintenance. There's no, the only maintenance that you have to really watch on them, and I watched this like a hawk this last year, was your battery. Because the battery management system will go ahead and over time, it's going to chew up a little bit of power. What I ended up finding out, over the winter, I checked my bike, I'd say maybe every 2 weeks, and maybe at like once a month, maybe once a month and a half, I threw about 10-15% more charge onto it to keep it roughly.
Checking it when you're not using it.
Right. 'Cause this is Colorado.
Oh,
So there are
right,
many months
yeah.
when you really can't ride.
So that's I should mention we because of being here, we do not have the California weather.
Yeah.
And so like I might have a winter day that's super awesome. I could take it out, and then we might have 3 weeks of Arctic fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that white stuff, you know,
Right.
that
Yeah.
snow.
I mean, that's a great point, though, because the idea of having to top up your battery when you haven't ridden it
Mhm.
is totally foreign to
Right.
myself and
Right.
many
Well,
other
and
people. Yeah.
and there's another thing where if let's say that you have been letting it ride for about 2-3 months and just doing maintenance charge, when you do that charge to come back onto the bike, you want it to do a full charge and then leave it on so that it actually the BMS will make sure that everything is all
There's a
right.
trickle charger. Like I have a trickle charger for my
Well,
motorcycle.
it's
I don't use
the-
too often. Is
the
that
char-
not
the-
available here?
The charger is built into the battery. There is no
So why
It's, you just kind of plug it into the wall.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
you plug it.
Yep.
You walk up. There's a little flat panel that's right behind the front wheel. You just pull the flat panel down. You plug the cord in, and I said this to Bagel too. If you're going to deal with e-bikes, with electric bikes, whatever, remember this acronym BOOB. Okay, it means battery outlet battery. Okay, you plug it into the bike first and make sure you've got a good solid connection, that you're not, that the plug's not halfway in, and then you plug it into the wall. And by doing this, you're not going to be running more of a risk as far as a fuse or just a potential weird bit. So like if we were going to
a big
apply,
thing with bicycles 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that's what what I was just going to say was the idea was those your tip ring sleeve. Well, so your round connector that you're going to use. If a person didn't put that in just right, you could have a short that would blow the fuses and do whatever in the battery. But again, this is this thing is really after I bought the bike. And I've had for like a year, I've been like, Bagel, we got to get you out on this thing because Bagel not only understands motorcycles, but he also understands electric vehicles.
Yep. And just to interject, those of you who were at the One Show in 2023, this is one of the bikes that was the main feature at the One Show. They had a big display there and
I was there.
Yeah. And I was very intrigued by these bikes, and we didn't have a chance to test ride them there, and I always wanted to have a chance. So I'm really glad that Bud got his so I could have a chance to ride it.
And admittedly, this one's kind of fun because this is truly version 1.0. This is my bike is a foundation. Sorry, it's a not a foundation edition. It's whatever. My bike is number 182 that was built.
Right.
So legitimately, it's like a low
First
number,
twos.
all of that fun. But if you want a bike that you are going to ride around a city, and it was a question of like, I'll use San Francisco as an example. Okay, San Francisco is 7 miles by 7 miles.
Mhm.
Okay, this is the kind of bike that because of the torque on sport mode, you can tear out of there like a bat out of hell.
Mhm.
And it really is. It's nice because the sport mode, while it does really kick you off, there's a little tiny bit of governance. You don't feel when you hit it, you don't feel like you're going to loop it. You don't feel like the front wheel is going to come off the ground. It just hits.
It's powerful but controllable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, San Francisco's full combat, not to interject you real quick, full combat traffic. Do you have brakes? Do you have tires? Do you have the rest of the bike to
Oh yeah.
do bad like
it's-
you do in San Francisco?
It has.
Well, we should show you pictures of the front brake rotor on this thing. It is massive.
Yeah, and let me tell you, when I was struggling to figure out how to modulate the brakes when I was slowing down, because those brakes just like to bite. So it's kind of one of those bikes where you have to ride it fast and come to a stop quickly, because it doesn't really like to come to a stop slowly.
Now, one thing that should be mentioned. So Ryvid has 2 versions of motorcycle. One is called the Anthem. One is called the Outset. Now, the Anthem is the one that has the adjustable seat height, et cetera, et cetera. The Outset is more of a dual sport. It does not have any kind of adjustability as far as the seat height, but it has a much narrower seat. Now, one thing that if we were going to talk about a couple of things, and I try to be very complimentary of the bike, but this is something that needs to get talked about. The seat is just too damn wide. If you're a small person, you're going to lose 3 inches because it just puts your legs out. So the seat in the middle really needs to taper in more. Now, according to Ryvid and speaking with Mr. Tran, they have an uprated, like this is all stuff that's coming because we're going to see where I'm at with my bike because I might look at outset body work. I might look at the idea of even just selling mine outright and then purchasing another one from Ryvid that has the 15-inch wheels, because when I say it's too tall, I can single leg it and that's great. But as I found out the other day, if I get into any situation with my size legs that happens to be odd, and for me it was just a little small piece of a driveway that just was missing a couple of inches, I didn't have the ability to put my foot down and et cetera, et cetera.
So I am very keen to move on to the Grom and
all right.
the thing. Well, now hang on a second, but I'm going to ask Bagel a question.
Yes.
Bagel is you've been hanging out with us for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about electric bikes for a decade.
Yeah.
We've had the CEO of Zero on here. We've had the CEO of Energica on here. We've had Richard Hatfield of Lightning Motorcycles on here. We have had the CEOs of pretty much everyone who's made electric motorcycles up to this point. Do you think this machine is sufficiently different, or are we at the same point that electric bikes are very, very specific market for a very specific kind of person? Because as good as it sounds, I'm not entirely convinced just yet.
Well, I think with any bike, it's whether it's the right tool for the job, and
Right.
and like the example that Bud gave is perfect. San Francisco is like this bike is just like made for San Francisco because it can do freeway speeds. So you could get on 280 and ride down to Daly City. You could get over get over the Bay Bridge and go to Oakland and ride back, and you have the power to do everything that you need. You have the maneuverability to ride through city streets, to lane split, because that's the other thing about this bike that I was really impressed by is the handling is really good. You mentioned, Bud, that is the weight distribution is equal front and rear, and it carries its weight low. So from a handling perspective, it's great, and it's very nimble. I could totally see this bike just lane splitting through San Francisco traffic and getting you faster across the city than you could on pretty much anything else.
Yes, it is a bottom heavy bike. It is definitely weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Well, so down the road, let's get Mr. Tran on the show and see what he has to say about his machine.
I think the most intriguing
awesome.
thing about it is you can pull the battery out, and if you live in an apartment,
Right.
you can track it up to your apartment and then have that.
But I mean,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's the same thing. The battery is a huge proportion of the cost of a bike.
Right.
I mean, dropping 4 large on a battery. God,
Well, no,
that
it
isn't
comes.
going to fly, is it?
Well, but it comes with the bike. But
Yeah,
you can
well,
take-
exactly. But
Right. But the great thing about because I was dubious about swappable batteries, whether that was how practical
I
that
love
was.
the idea of that.
But right, and that's I mean, this is designed to do that. If you want to buy a second one, you can do it. Obviously, there's a cost involved, but the thing about this that I really like is the fact that you can remove the battery from the bike. It's got wheels, so you can roll it in like a suitcase into your apartment and plug it in. If you don't have, like, say you have to park your bike in a parking garage in your apartment building in San Francisco, and there's no plug there, you have to take it up the elevator in your apartment. You can do that.
Truthfully, there'd be no guarantee the carcass would be left when you came down with a battery in the morning.
Like with any bike, you got to lock it up in the city. That's city life. But the thing is that for in those situations where you otherwise couldn't have an EV, this bike would make it possible. And I think that's something that is, that's been a barrier for a lot of people, living in an apartment or someplace where you can't charge another vehicle. If you can bring the battery inside, you can do it anywhere.
And that's the edge that the Zero doesn't have.
Right.
None of them
doesn't have.
And the fact that this bike is at a lower price point than pretty much any other electric bike out there.
That is really the big thing, is that they've tried to keep the price point. I mean, somebody's going to say $7,500. Okay, $7,800. That's a lot of money. But if you look at like a live wire, like, my God, they're like,
Wasn't that what a bicycle,
a
decent bicycle cost then anyway?
Yeah. Respectfully, a live wire's got quite a bit more range to it, but it's a different tool for a job.
But it also has, now, if you're paying attention to live wire, Harley has dropped like all support.
Yeah.
Like people have purchased packages on the live wire that you can't access anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's a whole nother story.
and we had, so as Bagel, and I don't know if he's mentioned this on the podcast, Bagel got himself a wrecked Zero and took the rim to a rim shop and got it set up to go onto a Heinkel.
Yep.
And he's been calling it Project Heinkel Zero. And hopefully here in the next bit, this can get figured out with the batteries and kind of trying to shoehorn everything in. But really, this is the biggie. So like on a Zero, let's say that new battery tech comes out. You're going to have to take the thing apart and, remove everything, whatever you can. If a better battery comes out, cool. If a better battery comes out from the Ryvid, you're just going to unbolt it, pull the cable, plug the new cable in, snap it back up, and you're good to go. So at least what we're hoping, we don't know future wise what these things are going to cost, but the idea though is that when they can finally get into a solid state battery, that's the real kicker of the idea that, okay, you've got this, you didn't look at it for 6 months, come back, still has charge, still functions.
Well, let's get the CEO on the show, and he can plead his case. I like the sound of that.
I will actually send Mr. Tran a message after this is all done, and I
Please
think
do.
the thing I have to tell you something. He's a good dude. He's a really, really good dude. Like, so,
we're lovely people.
Yeah,
we're lovely people. We're not cruel people.
But this is the thing that I really think needs to get said about Ryvid, and this, we didn't say this. They're engineering nerds. Like, they're engineering nerds who are also riders.
Yeah.
So this bike is not like the Sondors Metacycle where you had this, Storm Sondors taking 8,000 people's deposits to the kind of like $8 million and all of that shit. But the idea
I'd like to point out that Zero is just up the road from us. And again, Zero is populated by, my God, they're nerdy people. I mean, they've got giant foreheads, five heads, and like they come into a room and you can tell them straight away they're boffing, but they ride motorcycles as well, and they're
okay.
But
they're okay.
Here's your difference. If you look at a Metacycle, it feels very bicycle-y, like the components and everything. This thing, when you get onto the Ryvid, it does not feel like an e-bike. It feels like a motorcycle.
Yep.
Yeah, there's this category of these bikes like the Ryvid or the Land. There's a handful of them out there that are really kind of creating this new niche.
They're kind of pushing the boundaries
really
of both.
Because it is very, it's very Grom-esque, right? The use case is very Grom-esque. I'm going to bop around town. I'm going to get great economy. It's almost the size sometimes of a Grom Natty.
Well,
but they also go faster, so they kind of.
They're larger than a Grom.
Yeah, I wouldn't categorize it that way. It is significantly bigger than a Grom.
They weigh 100 pounds more than a Grom.
Yeah, it feels like a motorcycle. It does not feel like a Grom. It feels like a small motorcycle, but it is definitely more than a motorcycle.
So I'm still off with my DRZ 400. That's too big. Maybe like a 200, perhaps.
125.
I'll tell you. So a Grom weighs roughly about 228 pounds. The Ryvid is just over 300. I think it's about 314 to 320.
Okay, so like 250 cc kind of size and weight.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a nice segue, and thank you for that, Scottie. Thank you for the segue. We're going to talk about Groms. And the thing is, when you talk about Groms and you talk about monkeys, you cheeky monkey.
Love a monkey.
I love monkeys. But we don't
They're fun to spank too.
them enough because we are all monkeying around with our giant liter superbikes and having a lovely time. Meanwhile, one of the biggest sectors of growth in motorcycling are Groms and monkeys.
Yeah.
And I can tell you a whole lot about that.
Well, off you go then.
Okay.
Spotlight.
So the first thing was at my size. At the last Heinkel Fest 2 years ago, two of the attendees were on brand new Groms. And I went over and was just kind of kicking tires. And this guy was like, "You should ride it." I put a needle in my vein, man. Like, no problem at all. And the thing about this, so when you talk about like scooters per se, okay, everybody is, most modern scooters have a CVT transmission, dealing with a little automatic, kind of like driving a little Toyota Corolla. First thing about the Grom is that it is a manual transmission bike. You have to have it is a motorcycle. You have to have all motorcycle skills to be able to ride this thing. And that's also, so let's say that you were a brand new rider and you wanted something that was going to be a little bit forgiving and not hard to get around on at all. A Grom is, I can't even say it more than enough. A Grom would be a perfect first bike for somebody to get on. But then this is where the Groms get interesting. If you go onto any forums, go onto Reddit, go onto the stuff, you'll see all these people who are like, yeah, like I bought it as my second bike, but it's kind of weird because I don't really ride my main bike and all I ride is the Grom now. So to come back to it, first of all, in Thailand, where the Grom comes from, it is not called a Grom. It is called an MSX 125, which stands for Mini Sport Extreme 125. And stock, they're a lot of fun, but this is where I wanted to get into it because this is the fun part. So you can go ahead and look up the gentleman. We have a Grom master. And when I say master, like this guy has people from all over the country shipping engines, etc. His little outfit is called Mo Power Performance. And that's because his real name is Mike O'Connell. And I got my Grom, bought it online, kind of milling around the Facebook forums, and I saw some stuff about this guy doing performance stuff. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then one day I was out riding and I saw a yellow Grom go by me, and I was like, I'm going to go talk to that guy. So I did a U-turn and rode up, fist bumped the guy, started talking to him, and I mentioned the Mo Power bit. And he goes, oh, my bike's been through Mo Power. Like, you don't understand. This guy's the man. So I go on to all the forums and everyone is just like, no, this guy is the guy. So what's interesting is when you see there, you go onto forums, you'll see people doing videos. Everybody and their mother is just throwing parts at a Grom, but not understanding the really correct mechanical formulation for doing the tune right. Now, on the 2022s and up, those motors can only be set up so far. So stock, you're talking at this altitude, maybe 8-9 horsepower. My bike has gone through what is called a DHM Stage 3 tune, which is hot cam, an intake, high compression stock piston, the Yoshi, and an ECU remap. And admittedly, because Bagel got to ride a stock Grom versus mine, I think he found mine to be a little bit more spicy.
Oh yeah, it was nice and spicy.
But where it gets really interesting is the original, the OG Groms, which have the same motor as the OG Monkeys. Okay, so like from 2014, I believe, the Groms and the Monkeys up to 2021, they have like the transmissions can hold like 30 horsepower. Like you can just do some really wild stuff to those. So I bought my Grom. I went ahead and had him do the tune. When I came and picked it up, there was like all kinds of monkeys in this guy's garage, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, yeah, this one's 40 horsepower. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, like we can make these things go like 100 miles an hour. And I'm like, holy crap, man. Like this is
Scottie, are you listening?
This is really wild. But then when we were talking, he was specific. He was like, you want a 2021 or older because these are the ones that you can actually tune and really get some heavy horsepower out of. So I went ahead and I went onto Facebook Marketplace and I found what I thought was a reasonably priced monkey, which is now what we're going to call the bad monkey. Okay, because I bought this monkey and it had come with some performance parts. The guy who I had bought it or had gotten it from, he did the work himself, but he wasn't a mechanic. And I was just a little dubious, like, okay, you throw stuff on, but you don't really know what's up. So I brought it out to this guy to basically have another tuning job done. And it turned out in the middle of this, we discovered that my frame was tacoed. Like we're talking, when you see the picture of it, it was just absolutely ridiculous. So I got a phone call like, a week and a half ago that's like, well, here's the bad and the good. The bad is that your frame is tacoed. The good is I can get a new frame for $500 and it'll cost $400 for me to do the labor to switch everything from your old frame to your new frame, including stamping the VIN and then cutting the old VIN out of the old frame and giving you that so that you have, all of the reference points and whatnot. But what's been fascinating about this, dealing with Mo Power Performance, Mike O'Connell, is a really good dude, but he knows the specific formulas for, okay, you want to do this to your bike, you want to get this out of your bike. He knows how to make them roll, and this is his methodology. We'll see if it ends up actually working out. His big thing and the big secret sauce to all of it is Motul 300V. So in all of these bikes, like on my bike, he's like, okay, we're gonna roll Motul 300V. You're gonna run 250 miles for the break-in, and then you are going to change that oil, and then you'll change it every 1,000 miles thereafter. But when I got the bike back, he goes, okay, ride it like you stole it. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, no, hit the rev limiter. Like, I want you to hit the rev limiter as much as you can. The more you bang this thing out, the better it's going to run. And then, in his own words, he has built, I believe, over 300 Groms. There's been 0 that have come back that have grenaded, that have had any real issues. And admittedly, because I've changed a lot of scooter oil in my life, a long time ago, I actually won a Vespa ET4 in 1999 at the Vespa Club of America National Rally, and I've changed that oil many, many times. What was fascinating was I put the break-in period on this Grom, and I didn't mess about. I rode it like I stole it. And then when I did the oil change, you could see some particulates in the oil, but it was absolutely fascinating to see that this stuff did not look like it was torn up like any regular oil. Now, the bad part about this oil is it requires frequent changes. His whole thing was, you're going to change your oil every 1,000 miles, but ride it like an idiot and see if you can blow it up. And then in his own words, he said, I've taken a monkey in 3rd gear for 45 minutes straight, banging the rev limiter. And then we came back, pulled the oil, and put it under the microscope. So this is also where it's really fascinating talking to Mike O'Connell, because all of his equipment and everything that he's dealing with, he's doing like chemical analysis on Grom oil versus the Motul, and or hyper tolerance stuff where you're measuring down to like millionths. Like, it's been a real wild thing to see all of this kind of go down. But my monkey is, I had hoped that Bagel would have been able to ride it, but with the tacoed frame, we're waiting on all that. But so I'm basically waiting for this tune to come back, and we're doing about half the motor right now, because this next year, and the problem, it's all money. Okay. But the Koso 170 kit, and then the 4-valve head, and with him doing porting work and whatnot, those generally put out about 30 horsepower.
Wow.
And that is, admittedly, that's what I wanted, because I want this thing. I'll just say it. The scooter scene's a very interesting one. Sometimes people tend to think that their scooter smells better than another person's scooter, so to speak. And I just thought it would be a real blast to get this Honda done, where everybody who's sticking their nose up in the air watches this monkey go by and just smoke them.
It's not a scooter at all.
So that's, and there's the other thing. This is the big thing about talking about a Grom or a monkey. They're fun. They're so fun. Like nothing handles like them. They're incredibly nimble. They're super lightweight. So if I got hit with a crosswind, I can already imagine how that would go. Because I used to have an MP3 500, and I remember one day going up Highway 24 at we'll just call it a spirited speed. I got hit with a really heavy wind gust, and that MP3 was just like a rock. Didn't feel anything, but it was also a 500-pound bike.
Yeah,
with 2 wheels on the front. I
kind
of don't know what I was thinking there, but we all have our phases and whatnot. but ultimately, we were going to talk about the Grom or the monkey. So like on the older monkey, the biggest for me, the transmission. The older monkey just shifts crisply. There's no problem with the indexing. It feels really great. The 2022 and up Groms, those transmissions are not as crisp. Like the big one for me is the shift from 2nd to 3rd gear. I've missed that a ton of times. Like, you have to really make sure that you're getting a good index click on that, versus on the monkey, you're not really having to worry about any of that. It's just very nice and very crisp. But the monkey also feels very different, because it has dual rear suspension and then the frame that moves on it. So it's more of a cruiser, you can think, and they're actually doable as far as off-road stuff.
Yeah,
the Grom is set up more like a little mini sport bike. So if you were going to attack the twisties or do something like that, the Grom is going to be absolutely amazing. Now, if you're talking about going off road, the Monkey is where you'd want to be at. And straight from the mechanic, he was like, if you do 100 miles in a day on a Grom versus on a Monkey, the Monkey is going to be super comfortable. It's not going to tear you up. On the Grom, you're going to feel it.
So we're going to wind this up because, unfortunately, we got a ton of emails to get through. So here's our upshot. If you want to buy a Grom, buy a pre-22.
If you want, you want up to 21 if you're going to performance it. Those are the ones you can really tear up. And admittedly, like the nice thing about, we'll get you your emails. I'll be quick here. The nice thing about what Mike does is he has the dynamometer. So literally everything that's getting built over there is getting put on the dyno and is getting fully checked out. My Grom, my 2024, it dynoed out at just under 12 horsepower. And the Monkey, he's saying, is going to be closer to about 15 or 16.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Well, hey, so thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
I'm always interested in different perspectives. And I mean, it's very easy to dismiss these as toy bikes. The Groms, Groms and Monkeys, but they're not.
No.
I mean, in my opinion, as an urban bike, I mean, we talk a lot about urban bikes. I think they're the ultimate urban bike. And I am seeing far more newer riders on these than any other segment.
For great reasons. And just like Bagel talked about.
And certainly in Monterey, the owners tend to travel in packs as well, which is always fun.
They're feral down there in Monterey.
Yeah, they are. We've got the feral Grom and Monkey Club, and they're always fun to hang out with.
But just like Bagel said, it's about the right tool for the job.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the upshot of everything. We choose the right tool based on our job. One of the biggest problems we have here in Santa Cruz, and to a certain extent me in Monterey, you're not close to anything. So you really have to be very, very careful of the range of the bikes. I mean, just me riding from home to here and back tonight, it's 90 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to be mindful of that. But
there's an extension cord out there.
Yeah, there you go. I could do it. Yeah. I could do it. Anyway, God, we've got so many.
We do have a lot of emails, yeah.
Bagel,
yes.
Stay with us. Do you have it? Did we send you any emails?
I've got a few, yes.
There you have. Well, let's start with you then. Read your email.
All right. So let's see. I have an email here from, this is from Michael. And he says...
Michael, where's Michael from?
Let's see. Where is he from? I'm not sure, actually. But he says, "Hi, Misfits." Oh, he says,
"Hey, Michael."
He says right here, it's Mike D from SoCal.
Hey, Mike. Mike D.
Do your best, SoCal, Bagel. You can do it.
All right. Hey, hi, Misfits. It's Mike D from SoCal. I have a question and a dad moto joke. Question.
Oh, God, it's like you're there, isn't it?
What are the pros and or cons of ethanol added to gasoline, petrol? On my recent ride out to South Dakota, many of the petrol stations I encountered had ethanol-free gas available, which I used and had no issues. I've heard that there may be long-term effects with ethanol gas usage. What say y'all?
So I'll give you the brief lowdown. I'm going to be brief because I could talk about this for a long time. So ethanol really has been a savior for gasoline manufacturers. Gasoline, the quality content, basically the octane rating of gasoline has been getting lower and lower and lower in recent years. And the one way to combat that and stop your engine pinging, which sounds like that nasty little baby rattle when you give it the beans, is to add ethanol. It kicks up the octane rating so you can use a much lower quality gas and your engine won't ping. The downside is you do tend to get higher combustion chamber temperatures, which can lead to wear in older engines. However, my major argument against ethanol in gas is if you leave your bike or scooter for 6 months or more, there will be deposits left in the fuel system. That means the petcock, the carburetor, if your bike's fuel injected, can be in the fuel pump. Fuel pumps get jammed up.
Injectors get clogged too.
Injectors get clogged too. You've got all these particulates from the ethanol, all these sugar crystals in the ethanol. First thing you do on a fuel injection bike, you turn it on, fuel pump goes, and it rams all that shit right in the back of the fuel injector. So as soon as you hit the button, your fuel injection nozzle has a bit of a heart attack. It's a double-edged sword. Unfortunately, it's something we have to deal with. My advice, if you can go for ethanol-free gas, always head for that pump. It's going to be expensive, but it's an infinitely superior product. Not everybody's got access to it, though, so it certainly won't do any long-term harm for your engine. And I want to make it clear, ethanol does not do harm to your engine unless you have a period of inactivity. And then you'd better watch it, mister.
So people that with that white stuff we were talking about earlier,
There you go.
they're tough.
Yeah, those guys are tough. We like them.
And Don continues with his dad moto joke, which he says, to be told in a hillbilly from Birmingham accent.
Do it.
What do you get when you cross a donkey with a motorcycle? Answer, a yam hee-haw.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, that's bad.
Right. I don't want to hear another peep out of you for the rest of the night, Bagel.
All
Scottie, what you got?
Was that the whole thing, Bagel?
That's it.
That was it.
And thank God
all
for
we got.
that. That is the worst joke I feel I've ever heard.
I've got one here from Dave Hanby.
Hey, Dave. Where's Dave from?
Dave is from Washington.
Okay. Well, I feel your accent's close to Washington accent.
Not going to get any closer.
Well, there you are then. Off you go.
Hello.
Hello.
Listening to the latest podcast and heard the words, who needs gear? Well, if you happen to have a spare large size Scorpion AT 950 or 60, I'm in want. I'm a Scorpion fan, but since having to wear glasses full time, I found that getting my helmet, this must be a convertible helmet?
Yeah, it's a modular.
Modular, thank you, is a frustrating process. Some research has suggested that a modular style helmet would make it easier and maybe even a bit more enjoyable. I ride a 2007 BMW R1200 GS Adventure.
We call those BMWs around here, darling.
It's his favorite bike.
Well, God bless you.
Also, not to be a bit too sarcastic based on the previous emailers, but I'm also looking for a cup holder since I fit into the category of middle-aged posers who only have time to ride to the local coffee shop on my way to work.
Well, no, I appreciate his honesty.
I'm gonna own it.
I'm going to confess about the Misfits gear exchange. It's always feeble on helmets.
Yeah, as it should be, really.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting there's a real reason for that. It's just how it pans out. Gloves, we got them. Trousers, we've got them.
Race suits.
We've got them. Race suits, we got them. Helmets, it's always a bit.
We get lots of
Oh,
jackets, too.
thousands. Always a bit thin with the helmets.
Really?
And I'm not happy about that.
No, there's something about a used helmet.
Yeah, people have been sneezing and snotting on the inside.
I sympathize.
Yeah.
As a glasses wearer, and of course, I tend to go for the bigger Jackie O style stuff.
Very fashion.
No, fashion's my middle name, darling. You know that. But I always struggle with helmets, and I do sympathize, darling. Just go down. My advice to you: go down to your local cycle gate and try on everything.
That's true.
Try on everything.
It's really hard to beat. But
Yeah.
Dave carries on. Currently, I'm late to work because I have to drink before I ride, so a cup holder would be a true gift. Greetings from Camas, Washington. P.S. If you have time to visit my Facebook page for Washougal Custom Cast Classics, I think you'll enjoy the car and motorcycle projects I've done over the last few years. Thanks. Thanks, Dave.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. But we're not going to send you a cup holder. Next.
Okay. This is from Steve. Solas, aka effing Steve.
Steve's lost.
Well, we'll see. You'll get the. So this is the title is I got to meet Liza and Wendy.
Ah.
Oh God.
Hello, Misfits.
Now he wants to smash up the furniture.
Exactly. I ran out a small fleet of bikes through Riders Share and Twisted Road in southern Maine. I also am a mechanic at Street Cycles, a BMW Suzuki dealership. The last week, I had the distinct pleasure of renting out most of my fleet to ladies flying in for the WEMA rally nearby where Liza was
Which,
at.
of course, is where Liza is.
But she's in Chicago now. I think seeing plays.
Okay.
We at Street Cycles were excited to welcome the many of the rally goers into the dealership throughout the week. Through a fun chain of circumstances, Liza and Wendy Crockett and several others came to visit me at the shop. Wow. I've been listening to the podcast for over 9 years and actually getting to meet Liza in all her evil Knievel festoon glory just blew me away.
I'm so glad she was good.
It's honestly a little disorienting to meet someone after hearing their voice for hundreds of hours, maybe over 1,000. Getting to see one of Wendy's FJRs and the first CF Moto that I've seen in the wild was pretty exciting too. Thanks for coming to visit. The Suzuki V-Strons are my favorite bikes, and getting to hear all the love they've been getting on the podcast lately is great. I prefer the 650 because it's easy to ride and lighter to push around.
Oh, he's a smart guy. I like him.
I've had several in my rental fleet and send them to Nova Scotia and all over New England. Everyone always comes back glowing about their Stroms, and several purchase their own after their extended test rides. I have to give a shout out to Dwayne Snow and Street Cycles. Street Cycles has been a Suzuki and BMW dealership along with several other brands along the way for over 50 years. Fun fact, it's named after the founder, Eldon Street. Dwayne Snow is a local legend. He has been at Street Cycles since the beginning and has owned it since the late 70s. Dwayne has an endless repository of amazing experiences, from having a beer at Merle Lowell, meeting John Penton, and racing against Todd Henning. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Thanks again for an amazing podcast, and I look forward to every week and always enjoy. I promise I'll re-up my Patreon soon. P.S. I pray that Erin and her tribe made it home safely. I'm certainly curious to know how that noise turned out to be. Thanks.
Oh, what a lovely email. Yeah, thanks for listening, darling. Todd Bod.
Oh, it's my time.
Yeah, what do you got?
Big Head Todd reading for Alan Streamliner Smith. Hi, Liza. When I stopped by the recycle garage last Saturday afternoon, a number of people were concerned about the bulk of my aerodynamic trunk on my motorcycle. Most thought the load.
Junk in the trunk.
Most thought the load was too far back and heavy to be stable. The large size of the aerodynamic trunk is to smooth the air behind the rider's back. Most of the volume of my aerodynamic trunk is over the passenger seat. After returning home, I was curious exactly how much weight I was carrying. So I weighed the stuff I usually carry on the extended trip. My main cloth bag carried my laptop, etc., weighed 20 pounds. Tools, cable log, rain gear, etc., was another 20 pounds. The heaviest gear, tools, is placed far forward as possible. That 40 pounds is a lot lighter than a 150-pound passenger. On my recent coast-to-coast trip, the top 10-15% of the aerodynamic trunk is empty. I only carry what is needed for the trip. I've ridden with others in strong cross winds. They were surprised how stable my motorcycle rode with my aerodynamic gear. It was an interesting thing to talk about. I'm still a square peg in a round hole. Keep up the great work.
We love square pegs.
Right. Yeah. And from a dynamic perspective, and I mean, we've talked about this before on the podcast, but we'll revisit it because it's always good. If you think about your motorcycle in profile and looking at the side of it, and you draw an imaginary line from the top bridge to the rear wheel axle. So it basically is a diagonal line cutting the top triple tree to the rear axle.
Yes.
Everything in front and below that is helping your handling. Everything behind and above it is hindering it. And the further away you get from that line, the more either helpful or detrimental effect it has on your handling.
I'm entirely above and behind that line.
Well, and I was going to say, that is the great enigma of motorcycling. By operating your bike, you are hindering the handling by, this chunky mass behind and above the line.
And that's why race weight matters.
Exactly. So, and that's painting with a very, very broad brush. Because when you add aerodynamics, when you add bodywork, when you add this, everything goes out of the window. So, I mean, he's absolutely right. But 40 pounds is a lot less than 150-pound passenger. So, tra-la-la. And one of the reasons, going back to our Grom and Monkey thing, one of the reasons that they are so agile and they are so fun to ride is they carry the weight very low and forward.
Yep.
You know, and that makes them very, very agile. Now, we were talking about my latest acquisition, the BMW K bike, the Brick and the Brickette. They were always awkward bikes because they carried their weight high and a little bit further back. Basically, the inertia point of that bike was the flywheel on the engine. And because it's a longitudinal engine, you had radiator, crankshaft, and then this giant fucking flywheel with the transmission stuck on the back. And that was really the mass point of the engine was the flywheel, because I wanted that flywheel effect.
Yeah, we should get into this another time, because we had a really similar conversation when Hector and I were on the BDR about how much stuff you carry with you and how everything you add makes the bike handle less good.
Well, and there is a physical reason for that. Now, I'm going to point out, and I need to, God, I can't get into my email because I haven't got my damn phone because I'm trying to be a good Emma. But I can break it down. We have had lots of lovely submissions for our Jason Awards, and I want to make sure that we revisit this in case this is new information to you. We had a very, very touching email from a listener a few weeks ago whose son Jason was killed by a drunk driver. And, you know, it's always hard losing a friend, but it's always hard losing a member of our community. And there isn't a single life that is lost on a motorcycle that I ever want to take lightly, because every life that is lost on a bike is a loss for our community.
That's right.
In general. And I wanted to honor this young man, so I've come up with the Jason Awards. And the Jason Awards is an award that I will choose, I will give out, and we'll choose collectively, and it's going to be a nice prize. And in order to qualify, either you or somebody you know has needed to overcome a hurdle. It can be either a hurdle in order to ride a bike, or it can be a hurdle that they overcame by riding a bike and perhaps gave them the confidence.
Is being Stumpy a hurdle?
Being Stumpy is always a hurdle, John, but we love you for it. So it's no hurdle for you.
That's right.
But I want more submissions. I've got 3 here. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm not going to read them this week.
Yeah, we should do a separate segment just on that.
I'm going to do a standalone show based on this. And by doing that, doing a standalone show, number one, we can honor this young man who lost his life. And I think it was actually his mom who sent me the email. And he was such a lovely looking young man. He's standing proudly in front of his Moto Guzzi. Him and his dad were Moto Guzzi, just fiends, which makes them okay in my book, because I love my Guzzis as well. And I want to make sure not only do we honor this young man, but we honor everybody who's struggling, because it's the age-old adage: be kind to people out there, because you do not know the struggles that they are facing. And I know for a fact we have listeners who've overcome the most amazing hurdles in order to ride a bike, or have overcome amazing hurdles in their life by riding a bike. So please keep them coming in, and let's do a standalone show down the road. That's pretty much it.
All right.
Well, I mean, what say you?
I've got a
I mean, is there anything we should add?
I've got a short one.
Yeah. Oh, well, it better be better than the last one, Bagel, or
Yes.
I'm going to cut up rough.
Yes, no dad jokes here. This is from our friend and fellow stunt misfit Stan.
Well, no, okay.
He writes in about
Stan's not big on dad jokes, so let's go.
So this is in regard to the Vashon TT we talked about recently.
Yes.
He says, if you join the club, you get the date, apparently trying to keep it a manageable size.
Yeah,
That
it's
said-
always been that way.
Yeah, that said, it's usually one of the Sundays before or after Labor Day. And the website for the club is vmemc.org. And so if you look them up, they have a page for the Vashon, and that will give you the inside knowledge you seek. And he also provided a link for a YouTube video from last year's Vashon Island TT which is if you look up 2024 VME Isle of Vashon TT, you'll find the video on YouTube.
No, and thank you for that. I've been aware of the Vashon Island TT for many, many years. And it's one of those things, if you like older bikes, it's an absolutely must go. But they do tend to keep the dates a little bit secretive because they don't want everyone going. It's a Pacific Northwest thing. So now I recommend, if you live in Seattle, if you live in Portland, if you live anywhere in the Pacific North, or if you like riding fucking stupid long distances, like, why are you looking at it? I'm doing the Scottie. Join the club. Do it the proper way. Don't cheat. I mean, I have yet to come across a motorcycle club that's, we don't need members. All motorcycle clubs in North America need lots of new members. So join the club, get the date, and go to the Vashon Island TT. I'm sure we've missed this year, but let's shoot for a big misfit gathering for 2026. I'm going to join the club, and I'll probably ride my JS850 up there. It'll be remarkably slow.
I wonder if they have a Heinkel class.
I'm sure they do. You're halfway there, Bagel.
Yeah. Oh, I should have mentioned also that I am the drag race champion of Heinkel Fest 2025. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I bet you look absolutely fabulous in a pencil skirt and heels. I bet you do. So congratulations, Bagel. Do you shave the beard, or do you kind of cover it up and put it?
No, this was the old Heinkel drag race.
So you dress up as a German woman?
No. No,
okay.
kind of drag race.
Good. Congratulations,
Made a blush.
Bagel. And
Yes.
for what it's worth, when I rode your bike, I mean,
Yes.
I remember you say, it's slow. And so I was expecting this thing that was going to be overtaken by a snail, but it's quite peppy.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Was it an 8?
No, it was about 100 feet. And my engine has a fresh rebuild too, so
Okay,
I definitely had an advantage.
At 101 feet, the big end starts clanging. So congratulations, well done, Bagel.
Why, thank you.
Well done. No, I find your bagel, your
bagel?
your bagel machine quite charming. How long have you owned that bike now?
I have now owned that bike for 38 years.
Wow.
Yep. Actually, I'll be 39 years this December.
Wow.
Yep. That was my first bike. That's what started all of this for me.
A substantially younger Bagel when you bought the Heinkel.
Oh, I didn't buy it. I found it in a shed, literally.
Right.
for free.
And I sincerely
14.
hope you don't expect me to stop calling it an HE111 anytime soon.
I know better than that.
Yeah, there you go. So it looks like we've made it to the end of the show. Everybody will be thrilled to know that Liza will in fact be back next week. Assuming that they let her in through customs in California. No reason why not, I don't think. But I'm sure she wants to talk all about the Weimar Rally and her travels. And you say she's in Chicago?
Yes, she's at Horizons Unlimited, I think. She's at some rally.
Wait, that's here in California, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe it's not Horizons.
I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we'll find out all the details next week. But I would like to take this opportunity, of course, to thank our guests in Colorado. So thank you both for being on the show. Bagel, I will see you next week back in Velveeta, no doubt.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you all for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome, darling. It's a very, very interesting perspective. And I'm going to visit that site of the guy who monkeys around with monkeys, because he sounds like an extremely interesting fellow.
Just to give that final plug, because the guy really deserves it. It's Mo Power Performance. And
Mo Power Performance. Yeah,
yes,
heard it here, folks.
And he's a dealer. He does. I mean, really, there's really nothing. If you have a Grom or a monkey, this guy is going to be better than almost anybody in the entire United States.
And he's somewhere in the Mountain West, yeah?
He is actually over at the other end of Colorado Springs, just at the very edge of the city, where he's in unincorporated El Paso County.
Oh, wow.
Oh, fantastic.
All right.
Tra-la-la. So I think it's time to get out of here. So
This is Scottie.
Stumpy John.
And my darling.
Yeah, Todd.
Bagel.
Bud Ford.
And we are out of here.
Cool.